with that demographic, that composition of the jury, you gotta believe that somewhere, somebody, multiple people, it has to resonate that this dude came out the gutter and he succeeded, and it looked like the state trying to take this man down. That's gonna resonate with somebody. I'm sorry.
Call your first witness. I got Kenneth Willis. He bought his business, he gon' take it the distance. Listen, he giving gaming, believing high level represent. Call your first witness. Yeah, call your first witness.
Griff has been paid for this endorsement.
What's good, beautiful people? It's your boy K Will, man. Listen, episode 1, baby. Let's get it going. I'm excited. I've been waiting for this moment for a long time. It's here. I'm ready to go. Rock with me. Listen, I ain't gonna lie. I'm a fish out of water right now. I'm a trial attorney. I do public speaking. But this right here is new to me. But guess what? Buckle up. You dig? It's going to be a wild roller coaster ride, but I'm committed. Stick with me. You know what I mean? Kind of new to me, but look, let's see what happens. But anyway, listen, man, episode 1, Call Your First Witness. We're going to be addressing a lot of topics in this podcast. One of the things I want to focus on is what's going on in the news, what's popping, right? There's always something happening, particularly as it relates to criminal law, right? And y'all already know, man, there's a trial going on that right now has captured the world's imagination, right? For those who are interested. And this trial is interesting on so many levels because it deals with Young Thug, as you know, renowned recording artist, and his lyrics are being used in trial. There's no secret about it. Among other things, among other evidence that the prosecutor intends to show throughout the course of this trial. So we know that this is a 6-defendant case. It's a RICO case. You've heard it. You know, a lot of people covered it. You know, I don't want to say late to the party. I ain't gonna lie, this bad boy is slow motion. This bad boy is slow motion. We talking 10 months jury selection. That's a long time to pick a jury, right? My first legal job, or my second legal job, didn't last 10 months. So it's a long time, but you got to understand it is a high profile case. We got 6 defendants, at the minimum 6 defense lawyers. You got a prosecutor, Adriane Love. I'm going to touch on her in a second. Not literally, but we're going to get to her in a second. Got the utmost respect for her based on what I've seen so far. And it's an interesting case on so many levels. We're going to unpack all that. But I want to jump right into it. As you know, this thing been going on for a while. Listen, I'm going to tell you right now, I run a full-blown practice. About 70-80% of it is criminal defense in the city of New Orleans. I used to practice primarily in Baton Rouge. I've pivoted to New Orleans. Your boy busy, all right? So forgive me if I can't tell you precisely what's going on day in and day out. I'm going to kind of do like a recap, right? When I come in, I'm going to recap all the stuff I done seen, the things I found interesting. And you know what? Look, I'm just giving you my perspective. I think it's important, you know, that you get, you know, I enjoy sitting down with family and friends, man, and we just be running it. We be running it, you know what I mean? And so that's really the nature of this podcast, man. Let me run it. You know, I hope I keep your interest. And I just want to give you my perspective. And I think the best way I can do it is looking at this from the standpoint of a criminal defense lawyer. I've been doing this for 15 plus years. I've tried cases on the highest level successfully. I'm not here to brag, but you know, you need to know who you dealing with, right? And so I plan on addressing this, looking at this case and say, all right, if I was trying this case, how would I address this case? You know, what would be the first things I'm looking at? And one of the biggest things I'm looking at is my opponent, right? When I'm coming in on the trial, I need to understand who my opponent is. So I'm looking at it from that standpoint, like who's trying this case? And if you don't know who this person is, you got to research this person. So we got to have an understanding. Listen, Adriane Love ain't just go to our office one day and found this file, this RICO trial on her desk, right? I would think that she was cherry-picked to take this case. This is obviously a high-profile case. Fulton County do not want to look bad. They don't want to lose. Let's keep it real. Ain't nobody signed up for an L. Ain't nobody signed up for that, all right? The indictment, the charges date way back to 2013, right? It's a RICO case. Essentially what the state's saying is, look, Jeffrey Williams, a.k.a. Young Thug, and all his associates conspired to carry out this criminal gang, right? And they've been doing it over the years, anywhere from robbing folks, selling drugs, anything to preserve their enterprise. That's the case. Young Slime Life, right? That's the name of the gang. But we also know YSL, right, is a record label owned by Jeffrey Williams. So we got a situation where Adriane is saying, look, hold up. I understand that YSL is a record label, successful. We ain't disputing any of that. But we also have a real gang that's happening simultaneously with this. And she's there to make the case. And what I want to impress upon you, she kind of dangerous. I'm going to keep it at 100 with you. She kind of dangerous. I've been here looking at some of the comments about, she don't know what she doing. She out of touch. I'm not going to go that far. I'm not even going to go there, period. All right. First of all, and look, I've been covering these cases for a while. I was living in Baton Rouge when Boosie was on trial for a murder case, right? He was alleged to have hired somebody to kill someone, right? He successfully was found not guilty. Had a brilliant trial team, a phenomenal trial attorney in Jason Williams. Jason Williams is not a current DA in New Orleans. Martin Regan, may he rest in peace, another prolific trial attorney. I was happy to see him in action because I heard about him, and that was my first time seeing him. So I had an up and close view on a trial. I'm not going to say similar to this because it wasn't a RICO trial, but it was a trial in which a renowned recording artist was on trial, and the state introduced Boosie's lyrics as evidence, right? And listen, y'all, I'm a student of the game. I'm going to keep it 100 with you. I'm a student of the game. I don't care. Back then, I think I was practicing for about 4 years when I was covering that case. I'm covering this case, obviously. I think it's important you always learn, and that's why they call this practicing law, right? We got at the very least, we have, in my opinion, already, just my kind of far away look at this, we got at the very least 3 dangerous, phenomenal attorneys, right? And the reason why I'm saying it already, because I could see it, right? Sometimes it's an eyeball test. You can see it. Adriane Love, don't sleep on her. Win, lose, or draw, she put, I'm not going to go as far as say she putting on a clinic, but I'm saying the sister know what she doing, all right? You got Brian Steele. Brian Steele represents, obviously, Young Thug. We know this ain't his first rodeo. All right? And then I see there's a guy by the name of Max Shart. Shart is his last name. I think it's Maxwell. He's emerging, right? And I'm saying, and I won't be careful when I say emerging. Like, nah, he's not emerging. He was already there. And I think you're going to see some other lawyers kind of rise to the occasion, right? Because Brian Steele, he's the headliner. Let's keep it real. But we got to understand there's 6 defendants, which means at the very least, there got to be 6 attorneys. All these defendants have an inherent conflict of interest, right? So that's why everybody got an individual attorney. I'm expecting to see somebody Brian Steele, I already see it. He's the headliner. But like they say, man, champions are recognized in the ring, not made, right? So I expect to see somebody who you probably never heard of, not a household name, that's going to sort of emerge, because we know they've been doing, these lawyers been trying cases for years. I'm even looking for Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams is the female African-American attorney. I believe she's a public defender. I read something where she was saying, man, this trial's so long, I might need to start a fan club or whatever, something to raise money, whatever that is. And I'm looking to her, no pressure, but I don't know if she's the only public defender, but I think she is one of the public defenders on the case. And I'm looking for her, on top of doing her thing, I'm looking for her to dispel the notion of public defenders who are not real phenomenal attorneys. And man, I'll go a step further. Some people think they're not even lawyers. So I'm looking for D. Williams to do her thing, get her shine on. You know what I mean? No pressure, but this is an opportunity for the whole world is looking at these lawyers. And so what I'm saying is Adriane Love, Brian Steele, and Mr. Sharp has all already captured my attention in terms of their level of expertise out the gate, right? Adriane Love, she come out the gate, opening statements. Let's get past jury selection. I gotta catch up, y'all. Like I said, I came late to the party. Let me catch up. Adriane Love came out the gate dropping bombs, right? Quoting books, the Jungle Book. You know, I don't even remember what the quote was, but it had something, it had a big bad wolf kind of vibe to it, right? And so she's attributing Young Thug as the king slime, right? He's the godfather of all this, right? Now, opening statements, you have to understand, opening statements is just what the state intends to prove. And when the defense lawyers get up, they say, this is what we intend to prove, right? It's not argument. It's just, this is what the evidence intends to show. And it's important because opening statements is where you set the tone, right? It's your first opportunity to really, really get into the case. So you come up in that lukewarm kind of, let's just wait and see what the evidence gonna say. Nah, you want to paint that picture, right? And so that's what Adriane Love did in our opening statement. You know, she painted the picture that, yes, Jeffrey Williams is a successful rapper, right? But that's not the only thing he's successful at. Right? He's successful at taking advantage of our youth in the community. This is the case he's making, right? Our youth and influencing them with his lyrics, influencing them with his actions, right? The people, his company, to further a criminal enterprise, right? And he's taking our youth. So when she say youth and teenagers, that's tapping into this notion that, yeah, you got to be more responsible with your music. And it's not just music, but you are also, you in the trenches too. So she's putting him, and that's going to be the case, right? Because it's one thing we all can understand. Look, we can't hold somebody criminally responsible for their music. At least most of us think that. Some of us don't, right? Like Mac Phipps, No Limit, was found guilty of manslaughter in St. Tammany Parish in Louisiana. We call them parishes. Y'all call them counties outside of Louisiana. Some folks, you know, can flat out be convicted for their lyrics. We know that. It's unfortunate. It happens in our society. It happened to Mac Phipps. Thank goodness he was released in Louisiana after, unfortunately, doing 21 years. And they brought up lyrics, murder, murder, kill, kill, and his rap artist name. And all that stuff came out during trial. Turns out evidence supported that he wasn't even the guy responsible for this, right? But the lyrics came in, and the question was, what's the audience? That's the key right here. See this trial? We got 7 black women, right? you got 2 black men, 2 white women, and 1 white male, right? That's the composition of the jury. You got to understand, Atlanta is about 47% African American, all right? So, like the Labusi case in Baton Rouge, an argument can be made on the defense side that the prosecutor is out of touch, right? They're over here using somebody's lyrics as evidence that this person committed a crime. We understand freedom of expression, freedom of speech. You may not like the music, but to say that this evidence, shoot 'em up, bang, bang, as my dad would say. Rest in peace, Papa. You know what I mean? Like, that's not enough. And no, the prosecutor in Baton Rouge, not to shift gears, but that's not all they were relying on. But an argument can be made that they out of touch, right? Who's delivering this message? A white prosecutor. I'm not saying, I'm not making this about race or disparaging anyone. I'm just saying, who can tell a story? You understand? We got a situation where we have a sister that's telling this story, right? Now, I'm not saying that means, because she's black, we got the majority black people on the jury gonna rock with her. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's sort of her being black, in my opinion, from the culture. I did my homework, y'all. I'm telling you, from the culture, she has experience in prosecuting gangs. She has experience in prosecuting cases that are cold. The fact that she's going almost 10 years back don't really mean anything to her. She got the experience, right? She ran for DA in Central Georgia in 2020, almost upseated a white male who was in that position for 16 years, right? It was a historic race. Even the fact that she lost. I think she came within, maybe less than 10%. All right. She can connect to the people. Her message resonated with the people, almost to the point where she almost won. Right. And so what I see is someone who is drawing the narrative that, look, man, we got to save our kids. Right. And although some of us may say, oh, man, how you going to try somebody for their lyrics? You also have people who say, look, man, hold up. I don't know what's what. I can't distinguish the lyrics from real life. Brian's still doing an excellent job, but he's saying, I don't even mean because this is not going to be a criticism on lawyers. That's not what I'm here to do, unless it's egregious. But when Brian still say, look, Young Thug idolized Tupac. Heck, a lot of people idolize Tupac. No question about it. But when you had that East Coast, West Coast beef, yeah, we could say, man, this is all for ratings. This is all for music. But at the end of the day, 2 iconic figures were killed. Right? And so I could see already Adriane Love saying, yeah, we got all this, putting up the gangs and making money and hardcore lifestyle and all that, selling records. But at the same time, we got 2 bodies that's on this indictment, 2 dead bodies, right? And so don't sleep on her and her abilities, because she's equipped for the task. So you got her saying, look, he got his little thing going on with the music, but he bringing it back to the hood. He ain't too far removed from the hood, and he got his little foot soldiers, but he overseeing everything. And in her indictment, she has about 90-something acts, right? It's 56 counts, but she got about 90-something bad acts. I think it's 90-something. I told you, I'm just trying to get up to speed. You got to be careful. It's 90-something acts, bad acts, or acts in furtherance of the conspiracy. So these acts may not necessarily be crimes, right? It could be kind of in that gray area, but as long as it's in the furtherance of the conspiracy, she could present them. And it puts Brian Steele and all the other lawyers in a difficult position, because now they have to defend each and every act, especially if it's damaging to the client. It's like see what had happened. This wasn't that bad. Oh, well, this. Oh, which is doable. But when you have so many bad acts, you know what I mean? It's a defense lawyer's worst nightmare, right? Because they presenting it as proof that they are guilty to carry out the conspiracy. So don't convict him. If you think he did a bad act, we're not asking you to convict for this bad act. We want you to convict him because this act, along with other acts, supports a furtherance of the conspiracy of the street gang. And so, but along the way, it's murky in the water for your client. But still in all, the standard will always be a high standard for the state. And for this case, particularly, you're going to have an uphill battle because the more successful Brian Steele can establish Young Thug is in terms of his removal of what's going on in Atlanta on Cleveland Avenue, right? So Cleveland Avenue is the place where Young Thug moved to after the projects were dismantled. And so that's where he lived. That's where he was raised part of his life, right? And Brian Steele came out and opened his statement and he said, look, he came from despair. He came from hopelessness, a lot of crime, a lot of drugs, police disrespecting the community. Jeffrey Williams despised the police. Police didn't treat him and his family well. His brother was killed. They didn't handle that situation right. So you got Brian Steele in his opening statement delivering a message that's palpable and resonates. Man, we got somebody who came from the gutter, y'all, and made it, right? He came, ain't had a whole lot of money, ain't had a whole lot of resources, and he saw music as a way out. And so Brian Steele is saying, look, this guy is making tens of millions of dollars. This guy then sang with Rihanna. This guy then sang with Elton John. This guy, he's making hits. Why are we saying this same guy is trying to sell drugs, trying to have power? He's the king slime. What are you talking about? That's the defense. That's the theory. And it resonates because you got to ask yourself, hold up, this don't really make a whole lot of sense. He made it. Right? He's making a whole lot of money. If I'm on the jury, I'm like, what type of money we talking about? And so Brian Steele is distancing Young Thug from this mess, this 56 count mess. He look, Young Thug don't even know who these defendants are. Most of them, he too busy making records. He's traveling the globe. And so this is what we have here, right? We got Adriane trying to put him close to the mess and saying, look, I can show you specific acts. I could show you the car that was rented by Jeffrey Williams was days later involved in a murder. Ooh, now that's filthy. You definitely, Brian, still got to come and clean that up, right? Because now we saying, oh, wait, it kind of remind me of the Michael Vick case a little bit. Obviously, that wasn't lyrics, that was dog fighting, but Michael Vick, at the height of his career, making millions of dollars. I mean, he that dude, right? Cover of magazines, cover of Madden. He doing his thing. We realize there's a dog fighting thing going on at his house. Let's just keep it real. It wasn't at somebody else's house. It was at his property. Maybe not his house, but it was on his compound. You dig? And so you could try to distance him and say he making a whole lot of money and he don't got time to be fighting dogs and ain't no money in that. And they not, but wait. Now, we didn't see that trial because it played out. Totally different cases. But it kind of remind me of, and I think Adriane Love is going to try to bring this home where she said, yeah, we can understand that you can do your thing and excel in your rapping career, but you can also come right back home, right? And still be involved in perpetuating your game, still being involved in power and control, right? He can't get out of it. The thing that's scary to me is what happens to people who become successful, but they won't come back home. And a lot of people think, man, it's just that easy. Once you make the money, once you have the success, cut it off. It's not that easy, right? And a lot of people think they feel the pressure of not being real anymore. I'm the same cat. Yeah, I done made my money. I just try to get out the hood, bro. But don't act like I'm brand new. You know, and so if I come back to the hood, I'm back to the hood. I'm with my fellas. I'm with the people I grew up with. I no judgment here. But if I do that and there's still hopelessness and drug dealers and the hood ain't cleaned up and I'm still kind of in that environment, I'm taking care of people because I done made it, you know, so I got survivor's remorse and maybe I'm breaking bread, that makes me a criminal, right? I'm coming back to the hood to look out for folks, breaking a little bread, giving them a little money there. That don't mean I'm the criminal, huh? That's what we doing? Oh, you looking at my lyrics. Oh, you see me talking about this and take it to trial and put you in a casket. You seeing all that stuff. You don't understand. Look at the direct line between the lyrics and the bankroll. See, and that's the thing. Hold up, man. This been going on way before my time, and it's gonna go on after I leave. Brian Steele is making this argument that this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. Folks making money rapping about what may be fiction, or it may be embellishment of real life. Brian Steele said, look, Jeffrey Williams grew up in this environment. He saw some of this, right? He raps about some of this. He idolizes Lil Wayne, and he's brilliant at this. Brian Steele paints Lil Wayne as sort of an exhibit, right? We can look at Lil Wayne as a reference, someone who made it out of Holly Grove in New Orleans, someone who started young with a skill set, someone who Young Thug looked up to, talked about drugs, talked about shooting, talked about all this stuff in his lyrics. Successful, it worked. And he said Young Thug idolized Lil Wayne. The state, I heard where the state got Weezy as a witness. I think they got Birdman as a witness. I'm like, hold up. Somebody gonna have to convince me that my money on ain't no way in the world Wayne is showing up at that trial. Ain't no way in the world Birdman showing up at that trial talking about some like that. Dog, that's not happening, right? I don't. And I listened to the state's opening statement, and they said, look, there is an incident where Wayne was performing in Atlanta. And there was some beef between Wayne and Young Thug. There was some beef. And YSL people, they shot up Wayne's tour bus. They saying this is the evidence that we will show. Weezy is not a victim in this case, right? He's not. I don't know if he's a material witness. I don't think he's a material witness. And I got to be careful because I'm not licensed in Georgia. So I'm not going to come across as I know how Georgia roll, but I'm like, how you gonna get Weezy in trial? These people got resources. What do they get out of showing up as a witness for this case? Bruh, how you gonna get them? I haven't heard any, and so I'm not even gonna spend time with that. My money, Weezy, Birdman, Rich Homie Quan, they not showing up as witnesses, right? And I don't think Brian Steele or any other lawyers wasting their time with that. But Brian Steele was saying, look, Weezy is the model. And I'm going to get into how he turned one of the state's witnesses as an expert witness to establish that. But so we got Adriane Love pulling Williams into the situation. You know, the head honcho, the overseer, putting people in place, specific incidents. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I'm paying close attention and I'm looking at the comments with people saying, a lot of people saying, look, this is a joke, yada, yada, yada. This is a waste of resources. And look, I just want to warn you, trials take time. You know, I read somewhere where this trial was going to take several weeks. In my eyes, several mean 4 weeks. And I'm like, ain't no way in the world you could predict this. It's too much going on, too many moving parts. It's like herding cats, y'all. Like, this thing gonna last for a long time. So we gotta be careful with saying, wait a smoking gun. I didn't been in cases where, man, that thing, the momentum started towards the end of the state's case in chief. You gotta be careful. It's mundane and they just putting pieces together. So I do what I've seen so far. I'm like, ooh, they got a long way to go. Ooh, the state got a long way to go. They really need to tie this in. You know, I heard them arguing over something back and forth, the defense lawyers in the state, and Adriane Love is talking about these messages on Instagram or some social media, and she going in. I don't think it came out as evidence yet, but she intends to produce it. And some of the things she was saying, you could kind of look at it and say, all right, if you isolate that, it ain't that bad. I mean, she was saying how one of the witnesses was talking about, look, I need money to maintain the trap house. Like, you know, everybody got to put their money up. Ain't nobody putting their money up. And then you got Young Thug chiming in. And so it's like, hold up, what he chiming in on? What does he care? And they trying to say the property is for Young Thug. So these text messages are supposedly with the same people, or some of the same people with Brian Steele saying, look, man, Jeffrey don't know these people. So we got to be careful with these social media messages, because it's going to kind of, the intent behind that is to kind of bring it in, man. Like, this thing, it got a long way to go. The state, I think the more successful the artist, the more harder it is, right? How do you overcome, man, you know, all that success, Grammy nominations, making all this money, touring the world, you know, prominent people appearing on his album? Like, what are we doing? Okay, they idolize him. Okay, they got YSL tatted on their head. They got Young Thug tatted on their bodies. Like, this is the culture. This what we doing? Thug don't know all these people. Thug don't know all these kids. You got these kids doing stuff for Thug, thinking Thug gonna recognize him. But this is the thing. And Brian Steele is doing a great job in presenting this. Look, man, this is part of the culture, right? Like, this makes money. This sells. We don't even know if a lot of this is true. So Adriane Love, in her opening statement, she's like, look, take this SHIT to mother effing trial. I rep my life for real. For slimes, you know I kill. Then she say another lyric, same song. It's a song, Take It to Trial. I actually listened to it. Take it to trial. Get an appeal. Take it to trial. Yeah, you gonna whack them. Pay for that casket. That's just if we whack them. Y'all, I probably sound lame right now, because I ain't gonna lie. I ain't never heard of this song before until I actually listened to it a few days ago. And when I put it on, it's a video. It's like, yo, I would not have ever thought that this had any association with real life. Not even, you know what I mean? Some of this stuff, it had, you know, how the movies be based on a true story. The video and the lyrics, you know, I don't know. Because half of the times, man, some of these songs, I don't even really, the lyrics don't resonate. I'm showing my age, though. That's just, you know, I'm the same dude coming up. I could quote verbatim Lil Wayne. So I'm not saying that. I'm just saying I wouldn't have never thought it was like anything remotely close to real life. And so when you see it, an exhibit, it's like, ooh, y'all. Man, I remember front row seat in the Lil Boosie case, man. That thing turned into a concert. Listening to Lil Boosie, I remember the first thing I can think of is like, man, this brother talented for real. I don't know what you call like when dude be in the boot, when the artist be in the boot, no music, no nothing, just cuts, just raw cuts. And it's like, man, I just remember listening to Boosie and I'm like, yo, like, you gotta be special to do this. You really gotta be special to create this kind of art. Everybody can't do this. This ain't folks just out here hustling, man. These people doing this at a high level. And so I remember being in the trial and my focus shift off of this is a trial and this is evidence to his brilliance. And so that's what makes this kind of scary. You know, I remember Jason Williams in this closing argument. He was like, man, people from London are sending me emails talking about how is he going to jail for his brilliance. That's what they doing over there in America. That's how they roll. I remember him quote saying that in his closing, but it was kind of like, yo, like, you know, I'm not trying to be on a soapbox or anything, but it's really scary when you see in real time lyrics being put on that projector. And you like, huh? I wouldn't have never looked at that as real life. You can't take away with that demographic, that composition of the jury. You gotta believe that somewhere, somebody, multiple people, it has to resonate that this dude came out the gutter and he succeeded and it looked like the state trying to take this man down. That's going to resonate with somebody. I'm sorry. But it's up to Adriane Love to say, oh, hold up now. We can't even differentiate between what's real and what's fake. Because we got 2 dead bodies. We got real life victims. And so this thing interesting, y'all. I spent most of my time on just kind of the introduction. I'm going to do a volume 2 and I'm going to look at, now I'm going to go into witnesses, right? We haven't, this case, I'm telling you, this thing slow motion, y'all. Slow motion. Rest in peace, Soldier Slim. This thing slow motion, y'all. But I'm going to jump on, the next segment, I'm going to jump on Trontavious Stevens. Trontavious Stevens got himself in a situation. He in a bad spot right now, y'all. He was a defendant. He took a plea deal. Now he, as people would say, state's witness. This dude been on the stand for at least over a week. I think over 6 days. Last I saw, they had to take a break from him, put another witness on the stand, and they gonna come back to old boy. That's a long time to be on the witness stand. So we're going to wrap it up right here, man, and I'm going to pick back up on that segment. Again, I'm trying to get up to speed on this case, y'all, as best as I can. It's going to be nice when I get right back to where we are currently in real time, and then we're going to take it from there. So, bet, that's my time. Talk to y'all soon. Later.
Call your first witness. I got Kenneth Willis. He bought his business, he gon' take it the distance. Listen, he giving gaming, believing high level represent. Call your first witness. Yeah, call your first witness.
Griff has been paid for this endorsement.